All right. Hello. Today I have Heidi McLaughlin. So thankful you could carve out some time to chat for a little bit. How are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Not too bad. We just got back from Book Bonanza, which was a big final blowout. So how was that? I know it was your daughter's first signing, correct?
So technically it was her first signing, yes, and then like her last. She's kind of bummed on that whole thing. She's like, I finally got invited. Well, not like finally, because it was, we just released or whatever. And then she's like, and then they go and cancel it on me. So she's been before, but this time it was as an author. And so she's been my assistant many, many times at many other events. So she knows what to do and all that. But then it was just like, now the pressure on to make sure her signature was good. And she, hadn't really, other than signing books last year for when I went to Book Bonanza, she had signed The Lobster Trap before I went. And so she was just like signing her name. And this time I was watching her when she was meeting people, and she had put a little heart after her name, which I thought was really super cute. But we did the meet and greet. I thought that was important for her to just like, being a new author, get out there and just meet these people. She had a blast at the meet and greet. Like everyone who came was just amazing. We ended up sitting by the bar at the meet and greet, which I thought would be fun, but then I don't know. I think that area just got a little bit crowded, and but we had a line, and she was just like hammering through that line. She was meeting people, and she got so many compliments every time. I'm like, "This is my daughter," and they're like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty," and so she just she had fun.
So is she going to keep writing?
She is. So we have another book that's going to come out in December, but she also wants to write her own. And but she's got, I don't want to call it like an imposter syndrome or like the newbie syndrome. She's just really unsure of the process. So obviously I do, I know the process, and I just get it done, and we're swapping chapters back and forth or whatever. But she went to start her own story, and she's got an amazing outline. I think her outline is already like 30,000 words or something.
Wow.
And so I'm like, just write it. I'm like, all you have to do is just take your outline and just transfer your outline to your story and just write it. And she's like, well, I don't know, and I don't know. So I think she's just really nervous to pull that trigger and to start.
Yeah.
I keep telling her, I'm like, it's not like you don't have a core of authors that you are so close with that are going to be like, oh no, I'm not going to help you. Like, no one's going to say that to her.
Right.
And I said, so you just need to, you sit down and just start writing. So once I can help her get over that hump, I think she'll be smooth sailing. But yeah, she wants to write her own stuff. I keep telling her she needs to do some like lawyer something or other type story, because like she's in the mix of this stuff right now. Like, she's in the mix. She knows the law, because this girl just got an A in her constitutional law class.
Wow. That's
so
awesome.
I'm like, you need to go, you need to do like some law, something like make this like super high powered attorney, whatever, and do that kind of stuff. So I think that's what she'll end up doing. Some like the stuff that she picks up and the stuff that she learns about, like, it's crazy. And she's,
well, and I think that's what's really cool for authors who aren't just authors. They have, a second career, or there's something else that they study that they can pull from. And so you can, I can think of so many who had another life prior to this, and they brought it in. And, it's just, I think it's a really neat way to, kind of expand your knowledge on pretty much anything.
Well, it is. And I think something like if you're in the medical field or the law field, or, any of that type of stuff, your content is endless.
Yes.
Like, your content is endless. So if you can do the right, what portion of everything, like, you're not going to run out of stuff. That's why I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, if I could redo all of this, I would probably want to get into romantic suspense.
Really?
Because there is never a lack of content. You just open up the newspaper and there's something in there that you can use. In contemporary romance, you're like, okay, well, it's more like life-based or whatever. And like, like, at some point your life's just boring.
Have you thought about doing romantic suspense?
Every day, all the time. And I love it. It's my favorite genre to, well, I don't read it. I listen.
Yeah.
Just, time-wise and stuff. And it's just, I devour those books. And I will push everything aside. Like, I will have to go find something to clean just so I can continue to listen to the book, because I don't want to put it down. And it's just, they're never boring because it's always something new. Like, and it's just, and I say to my friends all the time that, like, if you have to start, if you're gonna start writing, hit the romantic suspense stuff, because you're never gonna run out of ideas, because thankfully criminals give you the ideas.
Yeah.
There's always going to be content, but we'll see what happens.
What stops you from doing that now?
Deadlines, I think.
Yeah.
I'm on these deadlines for these other books, and I have a release on this coming Sunday, and then I have a release in August, which is contemporary romance, and then I have a release in October, which is contemporary romance, and then I'll have a release in December. So there's just that time. Like, I guess if I set aside an hour, or one day of just writing romantic suspense, then maybe that's something I can do. But then it's like, where does that fit in with everything else? Like, I have to knock some projects off of my plate and not pick up any new ones in order to, like, do that sort of thing. Like, next year I need to finish my football series, and everyone wants a different or another book from, like, my military series, and it's like, where do you fit in the new stuff?
Yeah.
I'd like to do it.
So you have the new book, The Beginning of Forever. That's when it's coming out on the 30th.
Yes. This beautiful book.
That is so
pretty. And I did, oh my gosh, I did little, I don't know how well you guys.
I love that. So pretty.
So pretty. It fits with the rest of the book so well. Yep.
So what's it about?
So this is just a continuation in my next generation Beaumont series. So this is Noah and Peyton, another story for Noah and Peyton as they work their way into parenthood. So we have Liam and Harrison, who are about to be grandparents, or grandfathers, I should say. And, it's just, it would just be the next general step in these characters' lives to, become parents. First, they adopt a dog. So we start with a puppy. And it was just, and it's not super heavy, and it's not, it's just, like I said, it's just on that contemporary realm of the next step of someone's lives. And this is what it is. For people who have read about Peyton, she was in a really bad car accident years prior. And so she's, has pelvic damage from the car accident. So she struggles to conceive. And so you get a lot of Noah not being able to, or he can't figure out the right way to help her a lot, because, he doesn't want to see her in pain. And he's, trying to be there, and then doesn't really understand the whole, like, how everything is working and why she just can't do this. And so, he's got his own struggles, and he has struggles with his football team. And then we have, her sister Elle's gonna actually she got married in a hospital room in the last book. So she's actually having a wedding this time, and she's trying to get pregnant, and, they just have all that kind of stuff going on, and just the next step in their life. And, it's babies. So we got some baby time, which just helps me in the future, because now we got some new characters coming.
Yeah, right. How do you like that? Like, then moving on to, like, the next generation.
So I'm trying to space it out. So a lot of people want, like, Noah's little sister. They want her story, and Jimmy and Jenna's daughter, they want her story. And I'm like, these guys are like teenagers right now. And in my mind, it's teenagers. And I'm like, who wants to read about teenagers? So I'm trying to just, write the middle generation, or whatever they would be called, get their stories done, and then just kind of age them out, just kind of keep aging them out. I don't want to do the whole soap opera thing, though, where, like, one day it's a newborn, and then next day he's a teenager. I mean, we could, but then you start, wondering, oh, geez, well, like, are we, like, somebody's gonna have to die soon? Like,
right. Well, then you kind of wonder timeline too. You're like, okay, but I said this, and, like, it's hard to get out of your head. Like, okay, if I wrote this in 2015, and well, technically they're like 3 years old, but now I have to age them up, and then does it change the year that
So, like, exactly. So when I started Forever My Girl, they were like the 28, 29, because they were on for 10 years. And so I'm like, okay, well, like, how long? Okay, so now Noah's this age. Like, so, those characters getting older, and then you don't really want your characters to get older. And everyone's like, oh, I want another story with them. I'm like, dude, they're like senior citizens at this point.
Well, let me travel back in time now.
Right. And so, you get that stuff, but then it's like, and then I love the people that want the teenager stories, but I don't want to write a teenager story because I feel like if I write a teenager story, it needs to be like young adult.
Yeah.
And I am be honest, none of these characters are acting very young adult-ish in my mind. So I was like, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
So you mentioned Forever My Girl, and of course that one was turned into a movie, which we've talked about before, and I'm sure you get asked about it a lot. Was that, something you pursued? Did they pursue you?
So that was, they pursued me. When I started this self-published journey, it was with the help of Jillian Dodd, another former Texan, and just an amazing mentor. Like, I couldn't have asked for anybody better to help me. She read Forever My Girl. I asked her, she'd asked me what I was going to do with it, and I was like, I have no idea. Like, I was at the time a book reviewer, and that's how I'd met Jillian, and I had taken her to a movie premiere that I had tickets to. We had gone to a movie premiere together, and she's my champion. She was telling me, she held my hand through the entire process. And then, because I didn't know anything like ISBNs or anything like that, she had given me one from her publishing portion, right? So they actually contacted her 3 months after I published and said,
oh, wow,
are the movie rights available? And so she sent me this email. She goes, these people are asking about your movie rights. And I was like, well, what does that even mean? Like, I have no idea, which was weird because I was doing some stuff in the movie industry, but I didn't understand like that portion of it. So I was like, I don't get it. What do you mean are my movie rights available? Where would they go, first of all? Like, do they just disappear? And so at the time, I had this quasi agent. She was the agent of one of my oldest daughter's classmates' mom. She was also an author, and she had hooked me up with her agent. And so I emailed her, and she's like, oh, I don't handle it here in New York. It's handled in LA. So they sent it on to the agent in LA. And I had a phone conference with her, I remember, and she's like, yeah, so I wasn't really going to pursue this. She was, I wasn't ever going to even email them back because I had never heard of the production company. I was thinking, but why wouldn't you?
Right.
And she goes, but then I went to a staff meeting and we're like, oh yeah, we've got 4 movies with these people. So I was like, well, I guess I better do this. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, so this almost didn't happen, right? So yeah, they wanted to buy movie rights, LD Entertainment. And it was all from the time Jillian got the initial email, it was 3 months to the time that I signed a contract.
Wow.
And when on average, it takes them 5 years to make a movie. And it was literally 5 years. So
wow.
It was 2013 when I signed the contract. And then the movie came out in January of 2018. So it's a process. It's a long process. And it's a lot of waiting. It's a wait and see process for the authors. Like, what's going on? Because obviously I'm eager and I want to know everything and be involved with everything that they want you to. Well, I mean, as much as they allow you to be. And, from the beginning, though, it's just like, well, they're not doing anything. And it's just like, oh my gosh. But then every year they have to renew their contract. So it was like, okay, so I've renewed my contract and now you just sit there, you like, and wait. And then once the pre-production starts, it's like, boom, boom, boom. Everything is fast. Everything is urgent. And everything was like, we got to get this. We got to do this. You got to sign this. You got to do this. And so they started production right before my renewal option. So it was a FedEx, like they got this FedEx thing, like, boom, you got to sign this, send it back. FedEx guy was waiting for me to sign it to send it back. And so that would happen in May of 2016. And then by August we were filming, and filming was done in September. And then we did like all of this edits. I first saw the movie in May of 2017. It was Mother's Day. We got the rough cut, much of like what we saw in Texas.
Yes.
Colleen's movie. I got this rough cut and we were watching it and I was just like, oh, okay. my first thought was like, nah, just not for me. I couldn't wait, but I was way too close to the project, right? Like way too close. And my husband was, oh, this is a fantastic movie. My kids liked it. Husband loved the soundtrack, and I was just kind of sitting there going, well, and of course I knew about the changes. Like I had been on set, so I knew everything. But I was just like, oh dang, like it's weird to be on set, see myself in the movie, to know exactly how all that came about, and then to just like watch it all together with the music and the soundtrack. And I was just like, dang, okay, well, whatever. But yeah, so when we got to see the rough cut of It Ends With Us, and
which was so cool.
It was very cool, like like for Colleen to do that, well, and Colleen and Sony and Blake and for all them to do that was amazing.
That was absolutely incredible. I mean, and I did not go to that morning panel, the opening. I wasn't there. Yeah, I missed that.
No. I wasn't missing that panel for nothing.
It was so funny because the night, I mean, I'm talking minutes before it was time to get on the buses to go. Stacy Lynn, who I was assisting at Book Bonanza, she was just like, I don't do movies. I don't do this. And I was like, she was like, are you going to be disappointed if we don't go? And I was like, I just think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we were like, are we going to do it? And all of a sudden we see people rushing. We're like, we got to go change. We went and grabbed our stuff, changed, we ran, got in line. We were on the second bus. And it was like,
we were on the bus together.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so we got on, once we got in that line, and Stacey was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And, we were in the movie, and like I said, she doesn't do movies, and she was blown away, know? And I mean, I was scared. Gonna be honest, I was scared to see what the adaptation would be. But I thought they did a brilliant job with that movie.
Yeah, they did, and Blake's acting. It's so funny because you missed the morning panel. Blake is hilarious. Like, she's funny. She's cracking jokes right and left. I'm sitting there thinking, why does this woman, why does she not do comedy?
Yeah.
You watch her on the screen and you see why she doesn't do comedy. She is so good in that rip your heart out, stomp on it.
Yes.
Like, she embodies those roles. And my older daughter Madison is a huge Blake Lively fan. And I was asking her about it. I'm like, has she ever just done anything funny? And she's like, well, Age of Adaline was kind of like had some humor in it, but it was still a very serious movie. And I'm like, she just doesn't do the funny. But when you watch her on screen, you can see why she doesn't do the comedy stuff. Like, she's just so good at that gritty, like broken performance. Like, she nailed it. Like, she's so good. So, I'm super happy for Colleen. Like, everyone's gonna love it. And
they are
just, it's gonna be great. And I'm again happy for Colleen. And I was thinking, when Forever My Girl came out, Miss Colleen Hoover rented out a theater, one of the rooms in the theater, and brought a bunch of fans in to see Forever My Girl.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I had sent her posters, and I had here's my computer. I had sent her posters, and so she did this, and I was like, oh, I really wish I was could just message her and be like, hey, send me some posters and we're gonna do this. But we do have a group going that I've got, I think one's like 15 or 20 of them. We're all going to the movie together, and it's on me. We're gonna go have some fun, and it's the least I can do, because return the same gesture that she did for me. And but now that I've seen it, they're like, tell me about it. I'm like, no, you're gonna have to wait. Like, I'm not giving out any secrets. Like, there's enough people online, you can read them if you want to. But they're like, no, just tell us. I was like, no, we're just gonna wait, and we're gonna go see it. Yeah. We're gonna have fun and stuff. So the movie people were like, you want to buy how many tickets? I'm like, I want this, reserve this section. Like, they're like, oh, well, okay. And I'm like, yeah, just get it to me.
Yeah. So if you had it to do again, another book, would you go through the process of doing a book to movie?
Yes, I would. I know a lot more now. So there's things that I would make sure that I'm protected from. But yeah, I would do it. And it's not just for the author, it's for the fans too. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, because fans, majority of fans transfer from book to movie and movie to book. So I think, doing those kind of things, it's important, for readers and for movie watchers and stuff. But yeah, knowing what I know now, yes, I would do it. Ask me this question after the whole process was done and everything was out, and I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because the backlash was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it took me a long time to ignore the backlash, from being called a sellout and just
wow.
Yeah, or having people come up to a signing and being like, "Your movie sucked." I'm like,
jeez.
Great, here's your movie. But it's one of those things. So yes, I would do it again, but I would protect myself better, especially with the movie company and that sort of thing. Like, there's things I know to watch out for now.
Yeah.
But before I didn't. I had no idea, and none of my friends knew. So in 2013, even with self-publishing, it was so new.
Yeah.
That no one other than E.L. James really knew what to do with any of this stuff.
Right.
So it was, that part was difficult. But I know more and more well-versed in the whole situation in the movie industry. And I would totally do it again.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Whatever producer's watching this now,
call me. So I know we're running out of time here. So I know you got some signings coming up and releases and everything. So what's coming?
Next is Romanticon in Connecticut. And then I take a little break until October, and then I'm heading back to the Dallas area in Grand Prairie, which is the Traveling Bookshelf. But then after that, October 1st, this little beautiful one comes out. So this is my next Montlake release, and it's a little heartbreaker. Like heartbreak, y'all get it? Like little tears.
It's so pretty.
It's so gorgeous. And then it's I'm done until March. Yeah.
And so, I think you're doing the Crown Author event, the Bells. Yeah, I'm gonna do that one.
Yes, I am so excited. I've wanted to go to Austin for so many years.
So you've never been?
Never been. I've never been. So I've been to Houston, obviously been to Dallas.
Right.
And I've been to Waco because we did a Waco trip. But I've never been to Austin. And S.L. Scott lives in Austin, and she's done nothing but brag about her city for years. And so I'm so excited to finally go to Austin. I can't wait. That, and I want to go to San Antonio. They're like the other staples that I want to visit in Texas. But yes. And the Bells, they do such a great job.
I love the Bells.
Their signings are so amazing. I'm doing their one in March in Disney. So
are you doing I'm not doing the Disney one. Yeah.
She got me at Disney, and then they're coming to Boston to do one, which in 2026. So it'll be fun.
I think there were a couple that I signed up for with the Bells because I just adore Erin. My quick Erin story. I met her. I don't know that I had released my first book. And I went with R.S. Gray. We met up because she was in Austin at the time, and we had been reading each other's stuff. And so we meet up, and I think it was outside. It was in the lobby of the Omni, if I'm not mistaken. And there were maybe 12 authors. I remember it was Tamara Weber, Abby Glines, Colleen, Molly. I'm going to forget the rest of them. But the line was outside the building, and I'm standing there. Rachel and I are waiting to go in, and this girl standing there with her ginormous bag of books. She's in front of me, and her husband's there, and I don't know if he was there yet, but she had to step out of line to huge bag of books, and she I was like, it's fine, you can get back in line. She didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who she was. And then later on she messages me. She's like, oh my gosh, she's like, you're an author, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh my gosh. And so we messaged, and then after that, there was a signing here in Houston that she was at, and we just became friends. And so when she started putting together these events, it was like, hey, and I was like, I love you. Yes, I'll be there, And I think they do, the three of them, her, Katie, and Shannon, do such an amazing job.
They do. They really do. And the signings they're big but low key, which is really nice because there's no stress, there's no lines. It's just they put on such a nice event. She keeps going, so holidays, and I was like, it's February, and flying that way in February from here is so questionable sometimes. But I told her, so not this year, but maybe, or not this coming year, but maybe next year in 26, I would consider going in February, but we'll see. But no, that team is just,
they're great.
They really are. And the fact that they were going to stop signings or just do their holiday one, and then now they're doing this. I'm super happy for them that they are branching out and picking, these destination cities, and I'm just happy they invite me. So
yeah. Well, so I'm about out of time. So thank you, Heidi, for joining us today, and congratulations on the upcoming book. Share your cover one more time.
This one,
the new one, the one that's coming out Sunday.
This one.
Yes, that one.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, and everybody go check out her new book on Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye.